Put This On, Season 7, Episode 23, where we watch Love on the Spectrum, Australian and US Season 1, Episode 1. And I always take a shot of tequila before we do this podcast. So I'm Chris Lorenz.
I practice kissing on cupcakes. This is Brian.
I'm caught in between clips. I wasn't ready. Okay, I'm water. She's fire, and with fire and water, things get steamy. This is Noah Singer.
All right. If it's your first time joining us, those are all references to the show we watched this week, mostly quotes. And last week, we watched MILF Manor, which we put up a poll on Twitter to see what you guys thought at Who Put This On. You guys agreed with me. Top third. And I can say I've watched all 4 available episodes of the show, and it is very good. I am like, the drama in the show is next level. I love it. It's
wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, I also watched the 4 episodes just because I had to see how bad it got.
just because
it gets so much worse. There's like something that gets revealed in episode 2, and it's just like traumatizing.
Oh yeah. I agree.
Oh no.
And then we got a first like pseudo
spoilers.
Too.
Spoilers.
Okay,
on this trauma.
Give a spoiler. So there was this challenge where everybody had to put up a secret of theirs, and you had to guess like which one's your relatives. And So Young had one that was like, I hooked up with my son's best friend, and her son was just like, oh my god, this is traumatizing. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't think of anything else.
Like, he was like really depressed. Like, he was like, oh my god, I can't believe my mom did that. Like, levels of like, I can't believe my mom's on this dating show level, but like next level. All right. You should watch that. Listen to our podcast about it. You got a lot more details. But this week, Noah, what was the show this week?
Yeah, this week we have Love on the Spectrum, a documentary series following young adults on the autism spectrum as they explore the unpredictable world of love, dating, and relationships. You can find all seasons on Netflix. Da-doom.
All right, so they called this a documentary series, and I know we've quit back and forth, so we just did it. I don't really care. But definitely some producer involvement in setting up some of the dates. So less, I don't know, like that doesn't feel too much documentary, but it is filmed in documentary style.
Yeah, I'd say that there was as much production into it as like The Bachelor. There was one particularly that called it out. It was, yeah, that's the producer. It's just like The Bachelor, whatever. And I'm totally fine with that.
All right, so we're going to go over the US version first. Because I think I enjoyed the US version more, maybe because that was first.
But the Australian version chronologically is first.
Okay, all right. We can do the Australian version. I'm just not that excited to talk about the Australian version. So we'll go person by person, and we'll go kind of through their like flow, talk about the minutia, say if we like them or not. I don't know. So first episode of Love on the Spectrum from Australia was Michael. He was 25. He's on the autism spectrum, and he always wore a tie. He's Mr. Business.
His greatest dream was becoming a husband.
Yeah, Michael.
It was unclear what people actually did for work. Most like, is it the people that we saw actually doing their job? Was that, or those the only people that had jobs, or what?
What do you mean, the people doing dates?
No. We saw like Chloe. We'll talk to later. She was like working at a flower shop, and we saw Thomas. He was a bus driver, but I have no idea what Michael does for a job.
They might not want to reveal that too. Like, it's
oh, that's fair. Could be like, revealing where they work or what they do could be not great for them. Okay.
Maybe, but it seems like most people on the show have jobs. Yeah, like they were, most of them, they showed them working somehow.
Yeah, I believe Brian more. I think most of them probably have some sort of job. All the people on the show seemed like they could like I don't know, they seemed most not normal, but not like out there. I don't know how to describe that, but they seem like they could
I
hold down
know.
a job.
Well, it's the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to describe where they are in the spectrum and trying to be
yeah.
as accurate and as possible.
Well, I think there's like most jobs, there's some level where you have to be able to communicate with other people in like a reasonable time frame, right? And I think like as you watch a show, there's some people that are much more adept at being able to have like a real-time conversation and communicate information back and forth. And there's some folks where that was definitely more of a challenge. And so I think as you get more towards that end, it probably becomes a little bit tougher, right, to hold down certain types of jobs.
Yeah, Michael seemed like a very well adapted human being. Like he
Yeah.
seemed like a normal person, a little out there. You know, you meet a little out there people. He seemed that's how I got from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say like the opposite. There was a lot of stuff that he was saying where it's just like,
Oh,
all right,
God.
yeah.
I mean, he's on the spectrum.
but-
He's on the spectrum. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But it's all there's also something that like I think the show didn't really highlight as much as like they're putting them in situations that naturally is going to expose some of the parts of the disease, right? Of like being a little bit more socially awkward. Whereas like if you put them in a work setting, right, where you're really just going through facts and data, I wonder how much you'd even pick up on it sometimes.
Yeah, it's also a point where like a lot of these people don't have any experience in this area, so they even look more awkward than they would be, and like have like no idea what they're dealing with. So I think that also kind of sets them like down like even puts them further down the path than you would like normally see them as.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
And certainly with Michael, like this, like he went on a date this episode, and that was his first date.
Yeah.
Right,
Well, at
right.
the end, he was going on his first date, and he was wearing a suit.
Yep.
And then I thought that was odd. But I guess it
Yes.
depends on what your first date is. But unless you're going to the opera, which I wouldn't suggest, a full suit and tie would probably not be okay.
Nah, you're gonna get food on it.
Didn't he go on the speed date too?
That
was him, right? Or was that somebody else?
No.
Yeah, because he likes bowling, pool, and television, and doesn't like SpongeBob.
Oh yeah, he did go on the speed dating.
Yeah, he went on the speed date.
Yeah, I just remember he likes stuffed animals or some kind of toys.
He had a Pickle Rick, which I think was
nice.
pretty cool. Pickle Rick.
I didn't notice that. That's great.
He also met up with some sort of expert, Jody Rogers, to like give him dating tips.
That is great that they're bringing in like an expert, and especially somebody who is also on the spectrum, to be able to help out. Like,
well, it's unclear if this person was on the spectrum or not.
I thought they said that she was also on the spectrum.
They said she was. Yeah.
Well, the first, the one in the first episode.
Yeah, like both of them were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. He said at some point what he wanted out of him, like a girlfriend or wife. They asked him, and like this was always one of the most awkward parts of this whole thing was like asking them explicit questions where like normal people would be like nervous and like probably wouldn't say a whole lot, but a lot of people in the show just kind of like were really truthful about their answers. And like he said that he wanted to have he said no hands to myself business, which
yeah, that was great.
Like I don't know exactly what that means, but you could kind of picture what that would mean, and like you kind of get stuff like that. And that was humorous line, and it's weird because like I think it's humorous, but he didn't say it in a humorous way. And now am I supposed to feel bad? Am I not supposed to feel bad? What is it? But what am I doing in this woke culture? Like, can I use the word woke? Is that too woke to use the word woke?
Maybe.
I don't think that even applies because usually that's like there's something deliberate about it, and I don't think that they're fully aware of it.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's just kind of part of the show as a whole. Is like, if you're laughing at these people because they're having like if you think awkwardness is funny, you're gonna think the show is hilarious because there's so much awkward. I think it's all awkward. Like not all, but like I think any first date will usually be awkward. Like there's definitely going to be some awkward first dates. And now imagine you have your social skills are like way below normal and then put them on a first date and then watch them. And it's like, ugh. It's very cringy. No, Brian?
I mean, I was cringing the entire episodes. Like it just kind of feels like, oh, they're trying to like figure it out. And yeah, we're used to watching dating shows that have people who have a lot of charisma, and so like watching this is just like a very sharp contrast, and that's also like where the cringe comes in.
I don't know. Like, I didn't feel it was cringy. I found like a lot of stuff on MILF Manor. Like to me, it was just like watching real people. Like I don't know. It felt. I
Yeah,
don't want to
real
use the word
people are
authentic,
awkward.
but
I'm just saying, I don't know,
yeah,
cringy
yeah,
might not be the
exactly.
right word. I think
Yeah,
awkward, like
yeah,
awkward cringy. Not like cringy. I don't know.
yeah. It's just because it's just real. Like it just felt real.
This show is very real. It very feels like a documentary.
Yeah.
But it also feels like Indian Matchmaker because they're like setting people up. The one thing I liked about Michael in this episode compared to the other people on this episode is he was put together really well. Like he had like his hair was done nice. Like he looked, he had like did his hair. Whereas like as we get into Chloe, our next person, it's like producers, can you just like give this person a brush, like brush her hair?
Yeah, but it like was back and forth, right? Like when Chloe went out, she got like really like highly put together, you know? So I wonder how much of it's like just they just basically give them the choice and let them know. I don't know, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, usually you have the producers and the camera crew would come in and be like, okay, let's make you camera ready, right? And part of that would
Right.
probably be to like make your hair. And it's clear in the US version that they did that.
Yeah, totally.
So we have a
Yeah,
direct contrast.
yeah, that is really true.
So
Yeah.
we can talk. Does anyone want to talk anything about Michael before I move on to Chloe? Chloe, 19. She works at a flower shop, it looked like. Unclear. She has a friend named Bodhi. She loves Marvel and she's self-proclaimed bisexual. So
Yep.
we see her date Marcus, go on a date with Marcus, and then go on a date with Lotus. So Marcus, is this the one she said that she loved him?
No,
that's from the US version.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, confused. She just didn't like Marcus that much because Marcus said he likes Mexicans and Asians and she is white. And that's a good reason to get up and walk out.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was pretty funny because Marcus is going over all these things he likes, and then he just like the camera pans back to Chloe and like, nope, 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 nope.
Yeah. See, that's like even where the producers and like made this humorous thing. But like Marcus, he wasn't trying to be mean, but if like a normal person did that, you like that's mean.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a funny bit, and not like you're not laughing at anyone. You're just like, oh no, oh no.
Okay, but
Stop, Marcus, stop.
For real though, the producers set this up and like they set it up purposely bad.
I don't know if it was a purpose.
Yeah, they got to be vetting people, and it's like, oh yeah, would you?
Yeah, well, you can't know what people are gonna say. You
could
can't be like, hey, who do you like? And they say like Asians and whatever. And then, there's not that much of a dating pool, I don't think. And like, we're going to set you up. And then he goes and tells her that, like, you can't expect the producers to know that.
Yeah, I think there's something they could have like probably gotten out of them beforehand.
Well, anyway, Chloe doesn't like him, obviously. And then she's like questioning if she likes men or not, it seemed like on the show. So they set her up with Lotus. And she likes drag queens and hates loud machines. And they go on this date we see where she's also bisexual. And they're both into anime and Minecraft and like sunflowers. I don't know. They went to some sort of sunflower farm. And they seem to hit it off.
Yeah.
So successful date, it seemed.
Yeah. I think I'd say Chloe gave a lot of good personality. Like, and actually, I mean, I guess all the contestants do, but I feel like you get to know them quite well. Like, they don't just seem like cookie cutter people. Where in a lot of other shows we watch, like, they all seem so cookie cutter, like they're playing a role in the show. And here they seem like, no, these are just different people you actually get to know.
Yeah, I mean, because they don't have the right filter. Like,
Yeah.
so like, but you also get to see them with their families a lot, and like the families are laughing with them and like interacting in a really fun, playful way, and I think that really helps with the tone of the show. Like it allows us to be more playful with them because the family is playful with them, right?
It's a great point.
And like most of these people lived at home.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say about Chloe was she was the only one really with experience as like dating men and women before the show. At least the US version definitely had a lot more like no experience people. Whereas like we talked about how Michael was going on his first real date.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the US version, Abby definitely had a boyfriend. They should talk about that a bit.
Oh yeah. You're right. It's not the only one, but it is like
it's rarer.
It's rare. So then we have Ruth, and we're introduced to Ruth. She's 22 and she likes blondies, but then her boyfriend pops into frame, Thomas, which he's not really blonde. No. And this couple was really cute. Like they've been together 4 years. They have their own apartment for a year. So they're living by themselves. Thomas is a bus driver. We get to see him drive the bus, and we see him propose to Ruth. And on the bus. That was cute. And
they have a great line. They said, "We're comfortable farting in front of each other." Okay.
And like Thomas was like, "I love your body." Like it was cute. And Ruth was wearing this giant cat shirt that I thought was hilarious.
Yes. Ruth as well. I was like, oh man, Ruth. Like the producers could have really just been like, all right, just give us 30 seconds to like fix her hair for a second, Ruth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was just gonna say Ruth is another one to like, comb your hair. Like you're on a show, but
I think they're the most interesting just because they're already a couple, so we're gonna see like their relationship, and I think that also we're gonna see Ruth try to make friends because they commented that like she doesn't really have like a good like friend network. Like she mostly makes friends with animals. You see her hanging out in just a cat cafe. So I think that we're gonna see her like make a couple friends and like just have a board game night. Maybe I don't know.
I do think that Ruth, this is the most interesting because it's a different like setup than everyone else. Everyone else is going on these awkward first dates, and we get to see this couple actually making it, like actually living by themselves. Whether if they have support or not, it's unclear. But like, it's kind of, I think it was more fascinating to kind of see them together and like how they manage life versus like having first dates.
Yeah, it was cool. I was surprised how close to the TV she sat during dinner. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I noticed that. That was insanely close.
Yeah.
I mean, she was as close as like somebody sitting at a monitor, it seemed.
Yes. Even closer. Like, yeah, it was oddly close. I'm like, that doesn't seem comfortable.
She seemed to have some sort of like auditory, like visual issue going on where like somebody would talk to her and then she'd ask what they said to Thomas, and it was like he's right there. It's not like Thomas talked any louder or closer than the other person. So I don't. She might have some sort of weird tick, around that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
everyone in the show is a little weird. So sitting that close to the TV I didn't even bat an eye. And I was like, oh, okay.
That stood out. I was like, no, what's going on? Don't do it. Don't do it.
What else? She also has a cane, and we meet somebody else with a cane later. And I was like, I wonder if they would have gotten along. Because
the other guy has a cane collection.
Yeah, I know. That's right. That's what I was gonna say. Is she needs a cool cane from our buddy James, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got many cool canes.
But this episode kind of ends on a cliffhanger with Michael sitting at a table for their date and just waiting. So we'll see if we continue, we'll see next episode how the date goes.
Do you think that? What do you think, Brian? Date or no date?
Date.
Think she's gonna show up?
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with you, but I would take the other one.
No, I mean, there's some stat stuff later because I also checked out the end of the Love on the Spectrum US version just to see how did these couples do.
Mhm.
And
I found an article that told me.
All right, yeah, cool. You Cliff Notes it. I watched it. I supported it.
Yeah, we kind of had a little snafu on one episode to watch, but I think it was better to watch episode 1.
Yeah, there was more context here, and you can see them grow a little bit.
All right, so should we switch to the US? Any other?
Yeah.
Let's look at the characters. No, I think we're good.
All right, so let's get to Love on the Spectrum US, episode 1. We meet Danny. She's 26.
Sorry, wait. Sorry, I did interject. So, fun fact. The director of Love on the Spectrum, Australia, is, I know I'm not saying his name right, Cian O'Clery, Cian, I don't know. Sham, probably Sham. Anyway, he also worked on Star Wars, episode 3. It's kind of funny. At first they just show him things he's also done, and I'm like, no way he directed that movie. He did not direct it. He was a location scout. So I was like, what an interesting portfolio of work.
He's also the executive producer on the US one.
Oh.
That according to Wikipedia. All right, so let's get to Danny. She's 26. She lives with her aunt and uncle, which I wrote loves, which is funny. She wants a guy that's motivated with good hygiene. And she self-proclaimed gold digger. She was talking to her family about what she needed. She needed a guy that could support them. And they called her a gold digger. That was a humorous conversation.
Yeah. But she also wanted somebody who was running their own business or somebody who had a strong career, because she was very work oriented and she really wanted to mix the two. She wanted, here's our love situation, but then also we're mixing business in there too.
Yeah, so she has an animation business where she teaches people on the spectrum animation. She had Hizio, I can't remember his name. Miyazaki is on the spectrum apparently, she said, or started an animation business at 17.
Yeah.
Which was her inspiration, and she's still doing it. And let's see, what else do we have? Did I write down about her? She had a practice boyfriend, which the boyfriend didn't know it was a practice boyfriend, and that was kind of sad. Let's see what else. They went to see a friend, Devin, at a bar, and so she goes on a date with Solomon. And right before the date, she has a watermelon tequila shot, which was funny. Thought that was very human of you to have a shot before something you're nervous about.
Yeah.
It was also watermelon tequila. I quickly looked at the bottle and was like, oh, watermelon. That's weird.
That's a real thing.
So
You can buy watermelon tequila. It's not like
Guess
this
so.
aftermarket.
He probably
well,
just like has a
I
flavoring.
only know it's watermelon tequila because Brian told me it was watermelon tequila. In the show, they just said tequila.
Oh wow, yeah, 1800 watermelon.
Okay. So
Oh no, it's margarita. That makes more sense. It's not tequila.
Danny kind of was really infatuated with Solomon during this date because he writes poetry and had like checked all the boxes, but then she went a little too quick on this date and said that she really liked him, and he excused himself.
No. It was much quicker. She said, I think I love you. You're so good looking. Yeah.
I just didn't really want to relive the super awkwardness. And since considering I watched 2 episodes, they ended on a cliffhanger to see what the rest of this date was going to be. So I did read the next episode description, which mentions Solomon, but I don't really know how the date goes overall because we didn't get a chance to watch it. Thanks to Netflix.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Why
feel
would you
bad
include a story?
I feel bad for Danny. Like she was so excited, like it slips out of her mouth, and she's just like, no.
Yeah, she was somebody who just seems like she partly is too invested in her own business, but then also just not really aware of what could be too awkward to say.
But it was surprised. I was actually surprised how Solomon reacted, because like it to me, I just would have been like, oh, I'm surprised he didn't be like, really, or what did you say? He just like kind of left, like he just couldn't deal with it.
Well, was Solomon also on the spectrum too? Because a lot of these dates ended up being like 2 people on the spectrum.
Yeah, I think they were all on the spectrum.
I think
Yeah, so that's a little bit more understandable, given that like he probably stepped away to think about, okay, what would I say in this? Like, what's?
I mean, if you were on the first 5 minutes of a first date and somebody says, "I think I love you," like, I think you're not going to take that super well. Like, you can play it off, but some people are going to be more upset than others.
Yeah, like it could just be excitement. It could just be living in the moment, or like whatever. How you handle it is going to be varied. I would probably just try to play it off and see if it's like, oh yeah, that was embarrassing. Let's never speak that again.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, you can see how it played off, but like at this point, like I don't blame anyone for being like, hold on, I need a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
not.
yeah, no.
And yeah, Danny, like, you know, just like I feel like they start with her and she's got a big bubbly personality, and you know, I think you really start to like feel these are real people and care for them, which is, you know, very odd. I find for a reality show.
Yeah, but I like that you can actually kind of see them grow from that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully.
Yeah, like I watched episode 6 and I saw like, oh yeah, there was some big growth.
Okay, so you can definitely say there's growth.
Yeah,
definitely.
Then we meet Abby. She's 23. She's also really Abigail. She loves princesses. She wants to go on a cruise in Africa to an indoor water park. I guess she also had an ex, which was Garrett. So maybe I'm wrong.
From high school. No, from high school. But has been single for a bit.
And she meets with the autism spectrum expert Jennifer Cook, which is also on the spectrum.
Yeah, that was a really cool exercise. So
yeah,
Jennifer kind of recognized that Abby's having trouble staying in the moment and focusing. So then she demonstrated that with like trying to pass a bunch of ping pong balls back and forth. And obviously like that's very difficult to do while also having a conversation. But then Jennifer took it down to 1 ping pong ball, and then it all of a sudden was like, oh yeah, like there's a little bit of grounding here.
Well, she almost kind of grilled her with questions, like one right after the other, and she got overwhelmed. But yes,
but that was the point.
I know. She was trying to get her to be overwhelmed, be like, when you bombard people with questions, you're overwhelming them, and you need to like not do that.
Yep. It was an important lesson, but then it gets taken well, and she goes on a date with David later in that episode. They go to the zoo, see some cute animals, have some fun together.
Yeah. I thought their date went really well. So like the expert asked her like, what do you like? And she's like, Candy Crush, the zoo, documentaries. And like this date, they go to the zoo. And both David and her liked the zoo. And it was like, I thought it was sweet, the two of them at the zoo. Just like, two people kind of on the same page, but they're not like, they're a little on the spectrum. And it's like, I think it was great. I think they found each other, and hopefully that works out for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of it, well, spoilers. Now I won't go into it.
No, it's fine. I think it's fine, Brian. So we have to set some context here. Brian and I watched also the last episode of the season, episode 6, which follows up on the story of Abby, and yeah, they seem to be going very well.
Well, they have something to look forward to. They also asked her like what her hobbies are or something, and she said that she works out and swims, and she swims because mermaids do it. And I want to look like a princess.
That's great.
Yeah, she's very much into Disney and Disney. Like a lot of the quotes and references was back to Disney.
Yeah, she had all the princess. She's in the Princess Disney phase. And she has like all the dolls and like comparing herself to all the princesses.
And then she has a dog named Clementine. Very good dog. And her mom makes a great comment about dog that you cannot be a fat dog in Los Angeles. Clementine needs to stay in shape because they're in LA.
That was like the beginning, right? Yeah.
Don't be an asshole to the dog. Come on.
Yeah. One thing to note I wrote about David was that he loves lions and being in a car wash. And I thought that was humorous.
Yeah.
Being in a car wash is a wild ride.
Do you think that's like, being in a car wash is actually kind of expensive?
Is it?
I mean, how much is a normal car wash? Has got to be like $10, right?
Sure, but like you go through it once, it's a card game.
Yeah, but you can't just keep going through and through. Like it's like, it's an amusement park.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is expensive for the time, right?
Yeah.
And like that's like a cheap car wash. So Costco charges $8. Like the normal full car wash charges more like base price of like $15.
I'm just saying, like that's a fun thing, but like it's not a cheap fun thing.
No,
like, that's not an everyday fun thing.
Yeah, you're paying like $15 for like a minute,
But you do have a clean car at the other end, which I enjoyed like Abby and watching her go on this date. I thought like the interactions with the family again were really, really good. I thought that was pretty good. All right. Anyone else have anything to say about Abby before we move to our last person?
Nope. Let's move on to James.
James, he's 34. He has a cape at some point and gets knighted, and he has a cane collection. He wants a girl with radiant, unearthly beauty.
Good hygiene.
With good hygiene. He seemed a little more on the spectrum than some of the other people. And I believe he said he'd never been on a date, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So
I also think his parents were kind of being assholes to him.
Yeah, this is a little bit for sure.
Yeah, they were just kind of like pressuring him into like dating. They're just like, yeah, you're a young man. You got to start. They're expecting you to meet with a young woman. And that just kind of felt like you should be living your life instead of trying to focus on these goals or objectives, check boxes, whatever.
I mean, like they got to prepare him for like when they're gone. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't. But you got like, at some point you gotta push him. Like, I don't know. He is 34 and hasn't been on a date, so it's not like they've been pushing him his whole life. That I would assume so.
Then push him to like be comfortable. Like, I don't know. it just didn't feel like they were having his best interest at heart. They were just like, here's our objectives.
Or maybe they do have his best interest at heart. You don't
Eh,
know. You don't know, Brian.
maybe.
Noah?
I think we give them the benefit of the doubt that we think that they do, and they've learned how to, communicate and hopefully try to motivate him.
Yeah. So there isn't. He starts to go on a date, I think, towards the end of the episode, but we didn't actually see him go on any dates.
Yeah, he just met up with somebody, chatted about his life. That's cool.
Wait,
There wasn't much in this episode about him.
he did go on a date?
No. He met up with a friend.
Oh, yeah. We didn't mention that one friend that was really fun where they like talk to guys, but it's okay. Let's
Yeah.
move on.
A lot of them had like
Brody?
friends that they talked
Yeah.
with during it. Danny also had somebody they met up with, and it just means that they have a support network that's looking out and saying, yeah, you can accomplish this. You can get this date.
You got it.
I feel like it was Chloe's friend Bodhi that was the most interesting.
Yeah, Brody was great.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to questions. So we're going to skip the worst human being because we're going to do that. There is no host, so we'll skip that one. What do you think the production schedule of this show is like?
I think I'm going to go with a month because I think that they're going to follow these people around. They're going to go on some dates. It's going to take some time in between to kind of like discuss it, like work on some stuff maybe. I can maybe go less than a month though, given that like these are 6-episode seasons.
Well, I mean, the way you'd film this is you'd go person by person, right? So you'd have one camera crew.
Oh, yeah. Well,
That
you
would
can also
go
do
to-
it simultaneously.
I just don't think they do. Because I think it's just like, okay, this is kind of like a lower budget, like longer term project, I think. Like you gotta do one person, find some for them to date, like interview them, set up a couple days or a week or couple weeks where you follow them. I'd imagine it's like 2 to maybe 3 weeks per person, maybe a month,
Yeah.
and that would be like 3 or 4 months depending on how long you're with one person. Because like some documentaries take years to do,
Right. Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
especially the Australian version. Because like the Australian version is like the first one, and they're kind of probably trying to make it more of a documentary, whereas like US is just trying to copy that one.
Yep.
So that one they probably filmed quicker than the Australian one.
Mm.
US ain't filming people for a month, I guarantee you.
No.
Which like the real thing is here getting them on dates. So like filming them for a day or two and then sending them on the date, couple dates, could be a week. Anyway, let's move on to drinking rules. So I feel like you got to finish your drink if anyone kisses anyone on this show. Brian, you have any?
I want to do something about drinking, but most of the people that we saw on the show weren't really drinking. So
there was some beverages, but not alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say maybe if you see somebody on a date actually drinking an alcoholic drink, finish your drink.
Yeah, people are just finishing their drinks.
Yeah,
Noah, do you have any drinking rules?
Yeah. Every time someone says they like something, and it's kind of just adorable, but not like in a condescending way. It's just like that's a really fun thing to think about. Like I appreciate you mentioning that. Take a drink.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, you could do this one where anytime you're like think that's like awkward or like you look away because you think it's too awkward, take a drink. Brian?
Every time you see a wild outfit, take a drink. There's a lot of interesting outfit choices here. I think James had this like 4-colored short sleeve button up.
Oh, that's true.
And there was like some girl with like a bow, and I really wanted Brian to get this bow.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna rock that bow.
I got a good one. Anytime they like do or mention their hobbies, so like, that one guy with all his like he decorates his room with weird stuff. Like I would consider that a hobby. And like a couple other people had some hobbies, and doll collecting. I think that'll get more in play, I think, as the episodes go on. All right, let's do, would this be better as a TikTok or Quibi?
No, no way. I think there's too much depth to the people. I think if you do like an individual person per Quibi, then maybe you get some. I also wonder if anyone even knows what Quibi even is anymore. Are people alive who know what Quibi is? Um, but yeah, I think no, this is a good format for it.
I mean, I don't think it would be too bad as a TikTok, because you could totally follow one of these people on TikTok. Is that is that what we would call, would this be better as a TikTok?
Mm,
Because
oh,
you could follow Abby on TikTok as she does her life, as you follow anyone, many
yeah,
people on TikTok is just following their life. And I think
that's a
that
good
would be
point.
better than the show's pretty good, but I think that would be the next level, is if you really like these people, following them on TikTok would be the best way to do that.
But so, are you saying in addition to or to replace?
I'm just saying that if you had found Abby on TikTok and followed them, and they
Mm,
keep making content, that is better than this show where you get a brief glimpse into her
mm,
life.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I also think if you changed it into a TikTok or shorter version, it would probably not feel as good because you're kind of just digesting maybe the most what maybe the producer would say is the entertaining ones, which is probably going to rag on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Mm,
to be a good TikTok, you'd have to be entertaining and not, and so maybe they wouldn't be entertaining enough for being on TikTok. I don't know. So that's just my conjecture. Is if you really want to follow somebody, I think TikTok is the best way to do it, but they have to be entertaining and 60-second clips,
yeah.
and
Yep.
not a put together documentary.
Mm-mm.
Uh, we'll skip who's going to hook up next. I don't think that's important.
I mean, you can do a kiss next.
Yeah.
Who's going to get their first kiss on the show?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be Chloe.
You think it's going to be Chloe? I mean, she's had her first kiss though.
But what about the couple? Didn't they already kiss?
I
Okay.
I
Eh,
no, we're going to go with who do you think's going to have their first kiss?
Of,
okay,
of
their
their
first
Their
kiss.
first.
first kiss, not just on the show, just their first kiss.
Uh,
So the
I
choices
see.
would be, I think, Michael, James, and Abby. Maybe Danny too.
I'd say Danny. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Abby will have her first kiss on the show. Her first, she'll have the first kiss for the first kiss, for their overall first kiss on the show.
Well, she had the
hmm
boyfriend too before, didn't she? Or did she not kiss them?
She did.
She
No,
had a
she
boyfriend
did.
named Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. Maybe she already had kissed him. I don't know. I'm
Hmm.
just saying she'll have the first kiss on the show, other than the couple.
All right.
Because Chloe could be the other choice if we wanted to include.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, we just dismissed Chloe for that reason.
Leave me alone, okay?
No, no.
Don't leave him alone.
All right, Noah, what do you love about the show?
Um, I think you just really get to meet and learn these people. It's a really hard balance, I think, to put people on the spectrum in front of a camera and not make it seem like we're condescending, or it's like watching a spectacle, and I think they struck a really great tone. I think you picked on it with the family being around, where you just get to feel like you get to know them as a person. And so really impressive job of editing and setting up the show to make it feel like we're just watching any other person.
Brian, what do you love about this show?
I really like that this is a show that helps people grow. Too many reality
Mm,
shows are just, all right, we're gonna watch you be a disaster, and this is we'll see you be like what most would consider a disaster, but like we're going to help you and like we're gonna work with you to find something that you want.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think that I loved how they like set up these dates. Like they're like trying to help these people really find somebody. Whereas like most reality shows aren't really interested in that. They're interested in the drama to help you find those people and not necessarily find those people. And I get that, I think that they are. And like I agree with Noah that it's like these people feel real and it feels like a documentary. You feel like you're in these people's lives for real. And that's what I like about the show. So then we do a stank ranking system between top, middle, bottom, third. Brian, what do you got for me?
I'm gonna go top of the middle, just because I think that this show is very well done. I want to watch more, but I don't know if if I will really complete it compared to like other shows. I don't think it's entertaining enough or like engaging enough for me to be like, yeah, I want to continue looking at this.
Noah, what do you got for me?
I think this is going top of the top. Like, this is one of the few shows that we watch where I truly enjoyed it. So much of the shows we watch, it's like maybe enjoying because you're watching a car wreck. Maybe enjoy because they're doing some kind of like interesting take on what we've seen, and this is just like completely unique in its own way. And it's so well done. So top of the top.
I'm gonna also go top third. I think the show was a little too cringy for me a little bit, so it's kind of on my phone. But I really liked the documentary style, and I think it was really well done documentary. As we already talked about it, kind of being a documentary and kind of not being one. But yeah. So that's our discussion of Love on the Spectrum. Brian, you have any shout outs?
I kicked off the latest season of The Circle. I mean, it's fairly fun. I haven't really seen too much cutthroatness. It kind of reminds me of season one.
Hmm.
And also How I Met Your Father. Very good. Well, it's a classic sitcom. Like I'm enjoying it just because it's mindless entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, definitely been trying to find some like lighthearted comedies for sure,
Yeah,
and
and
that they've been hard to come by.
although South Park just came back today, so
That's
Oh,
true.
really?
Ooh,
Oh,
yep.
you showing everyone when we recorded the podcast, Brian. How dare
is
you?
it is it
Hey,
on
you know,
Paramount Plus?
I think it's going to HBO.
Oh,
HBO has
HBO.
the show. Paramount has the movies. So it's definitely not coming to
Okay,
Paramount.
cool. I'm excited. I really enjoy South Park.
It definitely went down for a while, and now it's back. Noah, what have you been watching? Any shout outs?
So last week, I was excited because I said I had 20 minutes left of Better Call Saul. Turns out I had 20 minutes left of all the seasons Netflix has.
oh,
So you still have
So
the last season to watch.
yeah, I do have the last season, and now I'm conflicted because it'll come on Netflix in July, according to the internet, or it's $20.
Ooh,
And
you
like,
know,
I wouldn't like it's easily worth $20, but at the same time, it's like there's already so much content I haven't watched. I'm like, it's like, man, I know I can fill my stocking, with enough content.
Noah,
Uh,
if it helps you, I've watched that show week to week as it came out. So there are times I waited years to
oof.
watch Better Call Saul. just just to let you know, not everyone got to binge watch Better Call Saul.
Yeah, that is fair. Um, but no, I don't really. I don't think I've watched much of anything else. Like I still watch Shark Tank. And keeping up on it. Um,
is there a new
it's
season?
fine.
There's been a new season. I
Yeah,
Okay.
mean,
there's been a season. Like they're getting to the point of it where they've done it so much. I think they're gonna need to start to figure out how to innovate a little bit. Like to the producers' credit, like they keep a format that's so worn down now and keep it a bit interesting, but it's like they gotta shake it up somehow because it's like the questions they're gonna ask, which is then just makes it boring. It's like, what order do I ask the questions? Who asked it? Which is not that interesting. So I'm excited for them to do something more.
I'm gonna be honest. I stopped watching it. I always got annoyed at Mark Cuban be like, "You lived in a van down by the river and you worked 100 hours a week. More than that, great. I'll give you $5 for 100% of your company." And I'm just like, "Fuck you, Mark."
Yeah.
So that's always been my bugaboo about that show. And I agree. I think it might have just got boring too. Like I didn't really care to figure out why I stopped watching it.
Now it's just advertising, which is okay, but it's also just not as interesting because everybody's coming on that show just to pitch their thing and get that like sweet bump from the show versus actually get funding.
I think some people are looking for funding.
Some people are for sure, but like a lot of people are.
But
coming
definitely,
on there.
you're getting a bump, and people want that for sure. But there's
Yeah,
also
I mean,
the sob story aspect, Brian. You can't forget about the sob story about how it's like an 11-year-old kid from Nicaragua, and he's selling rubber bands at the corner store, and he needs $50 to buy new rubber bands.
I think it's two things. It's like it's one. I think most people would have a hard time understanding how to go get funding, right? Unless you're somehow connected to like getting to know venture capitalists, like that's a hard network potentially to break into. The second one is even if you know how to break into that network, for better or worse, the sharks are famous. And so if they're an investor, they can open up doors more easily, right, than a dime a dozen VC.
I do think the investment on Shark Tank is 100% worth it, depending on how much you give away. But like getting one of the 5 who've made money on companies almost exactly like yours, being on national TV, 100%.
Well, no, but you got on national TV without making a deal. I literally think it's like because they are just celebrities, right? Like it's more likely someone's going to answer a phone call from a celebrity than just some other venture capitalist.
No, yeah, that's what I'm not saying that being on national TV is the main thing, but being on national TV also helps.
Oh, it totally does. Yeah.
And then somebody comes in and is like, Mark Cuban will give you 20%, and like Mark Cuban could open 18 million doors for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like they used to, like 2 or 3 seasons ago, there was a bit of a streak where Daymond John specifically, he would like really go hard at people, be like, "Bro, you did not come on here to make a deal. Your valuation is insane. You're just coming on here for fame and advertising." And like, there's a handful of times they called people out, and they stopped doing that, even though it's so clear they're coming on and like they're not really there to make a deal. I don't know why they softened up.
I don't know. Probably because the show's producers changed and the reason for the show existing kind of changed. Maybe
But
to Brian's point is it might be more for advertising these people and they have to pay more if they don't get a deal or something, you know.
But the producers are the producers are the sharks. Like Cuban, Kevin.
But if you are producing the show and like this company comes in and you're like, well, you can be on the show, but we have to take 5% of your company no matter what. Like,
it
could be like some sort of Y Combinator situation at this point.
That'd be fast. That's pretty clever. Yeah. I mean, it really blends the line between is this the new home shopping network?
Oh God, I hope not.
You know what the new shopping network is? Amazon.com homepage with their stupid shopping channel.
The live video. They only do that during Prime Day.
Oh my God. I am. Anyway, I kind of, so I finished Extraordinary, talked about it last week. Very fun show. I think it starts strong and ends strong. Middle's a little messy. I think it loses focus because it turns into like kind of sitcom-y and like, I'd like them to explore this world a little bit more than they did. I started watching Poker Face. Have either of you watched Poker Face?
Not yet. I plan to check it out.
No.
Yeah, I am an official category of I don't get why people like this show. The format is very weird. It's like it's over an hour long, And the first like 15 to 20 minutes is like somebody committing some sort of murder. And then the next like 40 minutes is somebody figuring out who did the murder you just saw do the murder. And I'm like, this is weird. Like, I don't understand this format.
It's a weird format of Law and Order.
It's so weird. Like, I don't get it. But I also did finish Fleischman is in Trouble, which was a really good show. Like, it's like about like just like messiness of family and life, and I would definitely encourage you to watch it. It definitely starts off crazy and kind of turns like more normal, like looking at like life in general if you start watching it, but I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I'm on episode 3 and I've been there for a while. But yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. It's like even beyond there though, I feel like it's a very New York show. Like maybe just because like I can pick up on some of like the locations and like the peculiarities, but like it's very much about people in the Upper East Side that are rich but not rich enough, and like they like don't know how to straddle like being just rich enough and not like ultra rich.
Yeah, I think that also the show kind of zigs more than you would expect it to. Like it like to where Noah is, he's on episode 3, it's about one person. But then it kind of expands into being about other people. Like still like involved, but like you get to see other people's perspectives. It almost turns into some sort of Rashomon situation, which was kind of cool to see. And so it turns out to be like, you know, it's about a father suddenly being a single father, and then then you learn about like it's not a spoiler, but like what happened to the mother, and like you find out about friends, and like just kind of like what happens when you grow up past your 20s and into your 30s. It's kind of like I feel like it's a 30s or 40s midlife kind of show, which is you know, unique, I would say.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg, crushed me.
And Jason, he's amazing. Like everyone, it's acted super well. I mean, so is Poker Face, to be honest with you. But tweet at me at Who Put This On. Let me know what you thought about Poker Face and why you love it.
Let them know.
Yeah. Also, you can find our poll on Twitter at Who Put This On. Tell us what you thought about Love on the Spectrum. And then next week, Netflix is launching a new show. I have it up on my phone, I promise, called Perfect Match. Couples who prove their compatibility gain the power to make or break other matches in the strategic and seductive dating competition. So that's what we're going to watch next week. And you can find us on Facebook.com/whoputthison. You can email us questions, suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.